Dear aspirant, I am glad to meet you in this platform, Know Your Industry. We are proud to have this platform successfully reaching many like you and hope this will add value to your career selection and career growth. Before moving into the main topic of this course, it is important to understand briefly about pharmaceutical industry, how it works, various opportunities arise from pharmaceutical industry. So let us go through this module first to understand pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry discovers, develops, produces and market drugs or pharmaceutical drugs for the use as medication to be administered to patients, or it can be self-administered with the aim to cure the patients, vaccinate the patients, or alleviate symptoms of the diseases. Pharmaceutical companies may deal in generic or brand medications and medical devices. So the generic brand medications, these terminologies we are going to see in detail in the upcoming slides. The pharmaceutical industry are subject to variety of laws and regulations in each and every country that govern the patenting, testing, safety, efficacy, and marketing of drugs. Different countries have different regulations for the control and regulation of pharmaceutical products. The regulations includes the manufacturing, research and development, testing includes clinical testing, analytical testing, and marketing. So each and every sector of the pharmaceutical development regulated by different laws are in each and every country. Pharmaceutical technology. So pharmaceutical technology is an important thing to know before we understand better the pharmaceutical industry. So pharmaceutical technology is nothing but the application of scientific knowledge or technology to the pharmacy or pharmacology and in the pharmaceutical industry. So this includes the methods and techniques or the instrumentation in the manufacturing, preparation, compounding, dispensing, packaging and storing of drugs and drug products and other preparations used in diagnostic and determinative procedures are and in the treatment of patients. As we move into the pharmaceutical industry, it's important to understand and know about some of the terminologies commonly used in the pharmaceutical industry. First is the drug. So drug, sometimes it is denoting a drug product or a pure drug. So what is the difference between drug product and drug? So that can be explained by an example, paracetamol tablet. So paracetamol tablet is a drug product. If you go to a pharmaceutical retailing shop, you can get this drug product. This paracetamol tablet is a drug product which contains 500 mg of paracetamol, for example. So if you weigh the particular drug product, it can be 700 mg or 800 mg. So that 700 mg or 800 mg of the drug product have 500 mg of paracetamol. So the drug present in the drug product, that means the paracetamol 500 mg is the drug present in the 700 or 750 mg of the total drug product. So this is the difference between the drug and the drug product. So what is the remaining 200 mg? So that can be excipients. So as such, the paracetamol cannot be made into the tablet form. So there are some other materials which will be used to make the tablet form, that is called nothing but excipients. So these excipients can be lactose, mannitol, or microcrystalline cellulose, crosspovidin. So many things are there. So there are several materials can be added to the drug to make the drug product, to make it the manufacturing easier and to make the drug product presentable to the market. We have covered the drug product and the excipients. So next is the active pharmaceutical ingredient. So here we have already seen in the paracetamol product, paracetamol is the drug, is also called active pharmaceutical ingredient. So in the drug product, the active form of the material is called active pharmaceutical ingredients. That is nothing but the paracetamol. So other excipients are inactive materials, that is called inactive ingredients or excipients. So next, coming to the new chemical entity. So new chemical entity is a new chemical which is intended to be used for the human consumption for the medical treatment. So it is a new chemical. So that's why it is called new chemical entity, which is under testing. So the process of identifying or inventing the new chemical entity is called drug discovery. Drug discovery is in many part of the world, many companies are doing drug discovery and they are engaged in new chemical entity identification or a new dosage form for the existing drugs. So next is generic drug. So the generic drug is nothing but the copy of the new branded drug. So for example, a drug is discovered in US and a copy product is made and marketed, means that is called generic drug. So this generic drug is very important to understand to move forward, because the countries like India and China are more reliant on the generic drugs. Next is the regulatory agencies. So the regulatory agencies are nothing but each and every country there are a government organization which controls the entire drug development, drug marketing, drug product sales. So this is the manufacturing, the research and development, and so many activities are regulated and controlled by the regulatory agencies. For example, in United States it is United States Foods and Drug Administration, that is nothing but USFDA. In India it is CDSCO, and in France it is AFSAPS. Like this, many countries have their own regulatory agencies to control the drug development process and drug marketing process. Next is intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights is related to mostly who are discovering or identifying the new chemical entity or a new product or a new method of treatment, so that are being protected by patents or copyrights or whatever trademark or whatever form. Those aspects which is deals with the patents, trademarks, copyrights is called intellectual property rights or IPR. Next is ANDA and NDA. So when we go for applying to market a new drug or a new dosage form, it is called as new drug application or NDA. If you are going to apply for a marketing of a generic drug, it is called ANDA. That is nothing but abbreviated new drug applications. So this abbreviated new drug application ANDA is most common terminology which is used in the USFDA, and the other countries it is called as generic drug application. Next is quality assurance and quality control, which is the quality tools which ensures the quality of the product. Then come to the stability of the product. So when we take a drug product, we always see the drug product have a expiry date. So what do you mean by this expiry date? So a drug which is present in the drug product always tend to form to other impurities or tend to form to another chemical, so that it loses its potency, and the impurities which is formed in the drug product can be issue for the safety of the particular product. So in that case, stability of the drug in the drug product is more important for the drug product. So next is the safety. So safety is the safety of the product is established during the drug development process. So whatever the adverse events, adverse effects, for example, if you are taking a aspirin drug product, then you tend to have the stomach pain by the acidity. So that is called the safety issues or adverse events. Or some other product can create headache. So this is all comes to the safety aspects of the drug product. Then the efficacy of the product. Efficacies of the product, for example, if you are taking the paracetamol tablet for the reduction of pain or reduction of fever. So this, in case the fever is reduced or the pain is reduced, then the intended activity is done. So that is called the efficacy for the particular product. So the safety and efficacy is the important aspects of the particular drug product, which has to be proven for each and every drug product. In the earlier slide, we have seen about drug discovery and new chemical entity. So in the current slide, we are going to see about what is drug discovery process or identifying a new chemical entity. So it's a very long term process which includes discovery of the active principles, preclinical testing and clinical testing. So generally this drug discovery process takes about 15 years in drug discovery companies. 10 to 15 years is the minimum period. In the first step, the discovery of the active principles are being done by the chemistry, software technologies, and molecular biologists. So, for example, a drug is being discovered for the diabetes. So, then the target receptors for the diabetes will be identified to see that the active principles or the chemicals, whether it can act on the receptors or not. That can be modulated or programmed by the softwares and to check whether the chemical really have the effect or not theoretically. Then these identified candidates which meet the profile of the target site which will be taken for the further testing. So this step of the process, that is discovery of the active principles, takes 2 to 5 years generally in the discovery process. So when it comes to the next stage, so it will go for the preclinical testings in the form of pure chemical or in the form of simple tablets or simple capsules. So it will be tested on the small animals to the bigger animals like monkeys and dogs. So to see the safety and efficacy of the particular drug product for the particular target disease. And also several toxicology and animal pharmacology studies will be carried out for to establish the safety, efficacy, toxicology of the particular drug product in the particular target animals as well as the intended human targets. Now we come to the final stage of the drug development process, that is called clinical testing. So after completion of the preclinical testing, the entire data of the drug discovery process will be submitted to regulatory agency to get approval for the clinical testing. So the clinical testing to start with the phase 1 studies where the safety of the drug will be established in the human being. Then it goes for the phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials, multiple sites in the across the globe. So this clinical testing will demonstrate the safety and efficacy of the drug product in patients for the particular disease. So this is how the entire drug development process for almost 10 to 15 years has been conducted across the various pharmaceutical companies. And finally, once the clinical testing has been done, the entire package, the data will be submitted to the regulatory agency for the marketing approval. Then the product comes for the market for the particular indication. This particular slide talks about the same process what we discussed in the earlier slide, drug discovery process and technologies. This includes, as we said earlier, molecular biology, cell biology, disease mechanisms identification, computerized technologies like CAD to use the identification of drug candidates to target the disease mechanisms. Then to synthesize the drug candidates, we use medicinal chemistry. Then we do the proof of concept studies like in vitro studies, cell line studies, where the disease mechanism will be demonstrated through cell assays and the drug candidate will be tested upon the cell lines through the cell assays. Then the pharmacology studies using the animals, toxicology studies using the animals. These both are comes in the major area of preclinical studies. Then comes to the clinical studies where the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 trials will be carried out. This entire process will be supported by various instrumentation technology as well as associated technologies. This particular slide describes the requirement of various expertise required for the drug discovery unit. You can see the important flow of drug discovery process like target selection, lead discovery, medicinal chemistry, in vitro studies, and in vivo studies. You can see the sub areas like genomics, proteomics, bioinformatics, cellular biology, synthesis of drug molecules, isolation of drug molecules, assay development, instrumentation requirement, chemical synthesis, lead candidate refinement, cell disease models, behavioral studies, functional images, everything involves different expertise, different area of academics qualification requirement. So the drug discovery is combination of so many expertise. That is what here emphasized in this particular slide. In the previous slides, we have seen the drug discovery, new chemical entity development process, new drug dosage form, development, etc. So from this slide onwards, we are going to see the generic drug. What is a generic drug? Generic drug is defined as a drug product that is comparable to brand or reference listed drug product in dosage form, strength, route of administration, quality and performance characteristics and intended use. So what we are trying to say here that the generic product is comparable to the already marketed product in the same country or the different country, but identical in the strength, route of administration, quality, and performance characteristics and intended use. Now, generic drug development industry. So, we are in India. India is the important hub for generic drug development industry. We all know that. The generic drug development involved both active pharmaceutical ingredient as well as the drug product. So when it call it as drug product, it is nothing but the formulation development. When it you come to the API, active pharmaceutical ingredient, there are several drugs which are once discovered and marketed in the drug discovery companies based countries. Immediately the API is developed in the form of generics and being marketed by some other countries where the patent law is not implemented. So before 1995, India also had no patent regime. Hence, whatever discovered in the Western countries in the form of active pharmaceutical ingredient or the drug product immediately manufactured in India through reverse engineering and being marketed in various countries where the patent regime is not implemented. So the generic drug development industry is both inclusive of active pharmaceutical ingredient as well as the drug product or the formulations. So the API industry is separate, drug product or formulation development industry is separate, or sometimes one company can develop the generic active pharmaceutical ingredient or the drug product. So there are some companies which is doing only the generic API business, some companies do only the generic formulation business, some companies do both the things. So this is what we need to understand here. And then there are manufacturing, only the doing manufacturing activity. That is nothing but contract manufacturing organizations. So these contract manufacturing organizations manufacture their own products as well as products for others on the contract manner. Then there are several clinical research organizations involved in the generic drug development process. Once the generic product is developed, it will be tested through clinical studies, especially the BABE studies, bioavailability bioequivalence studies. So there are several clinical research organizations which conduct the bioavailability and bioequivalence studies called in India or in many parts of the world clinical research organizations, which is also part of the generic drug development process. Then the packaging material industry comes where each and every product, for example, tablets are being supplied in blisters, supplied in bottles, supplied in different kind of packaging materials. So these packaging materials comes from specific industry. So the packaging material industry also comes into the picture for the generic drug development. Then the excipient industry, where the already seen that excipients are very critical for the drug product development. So materials like lactose mannitol are being developed by various companies and being marketed, which matches the quality requirement for the pharmaceutical drug product development. Then the pharmaceutical marketing industry, where once the drug product is launched, the marketing is required. So the marketing is being done by the different industry personalities, and this is also comes into the picture for the generic drug development industry. So this entire development process, including the API, drug product, manufacturing, clinical research, packaging materials, excipients, all are supported by the analytical development or analytical sciences and instrumentation technologies. And this has their own industry where the instruments are manufactured, instruments are supplied, instruments are installed, qualified, then being used, maintained by the industry people. So this entire industry is interconnected, and the generic drug development industry inclusive of all these different industry sectors like API, formulations, etc. Here first comes the generic API industry. How the generic API industry function, that is what we are going to see in this particular slide. So it starts with the identification of the target product and target market. For example, a paracetamol is already discovered and marketed in United States. Now I want to develop a generic API for the paracetamol. So I have to identify the particular API and which market I am going to submit the dossier and get the approval for the marketing authorization. So these are the critical things which first need to be selected. Then for the particular API, we need to identify the patent barriers through infringement analysis and patent landscape analysis. And in case if the synthetic process is infringing, we have to find a non-infringement route of synthesis for the particular chemical molecule. Then we need to understand the chemistry of the target molecule. We have to finalize the development strategy and synthetic pathway for the particular drug molecule. Once the strategy or synthetic pathway is finalized, we need to source the chemicals and equipments, engineering technology required for the synthesis of particular chemical molecule. We need to develop analytical methods to analyze the chemical molecule which is synthesized for the purity and other parameters. Then the pilot batches are being made. It will be characterized for the in vitro data like purity, impurities, stability, etc. Then scale up and characterization will be carried out for the particular drug product or API. Then the exhibit manufacturing, that is the submission batches, we call it, that will be manufactured and it will be characterized. The entire data right from the start to end will be submitted for the regulatory approval for the target country. So this is the entire process about the generic API industry, how it function in nutshell. This slide shows some of the sample images of the API industry. Now we come to drug product or formulation industry. So when we call it as a drug product or formulation, first we need to understand what kind of formulations are existing in the pharmaceutical industry and what formulations are being used, in which form it is used. So when it comes to the drug products, the route of administration comes into the picture. So there are several route of administrations like oral, injectables, nasal, topical like ointments and gels, transdermal patches, ophthalmic drug products where we use the product for the eyes, then the rectal products. Some products are being administered rectally, then our vaginal route of administration. So many routes of administration are being employed for the drug product administration. Then it comes to different forms of the dosage forms. Solutions. There can be oral solutions or solutions are being used for different purposes like injectables and ophthalmics. Then otic solutions are one form of the drug product which can be used for several route of administration. Then suspension, similarly, like solution, it can be used for injectable and intravenous also. Then powders, it's being used for oral, topical, nasal route of administration. Then tablets, generally used for oral, rectal, vaginal administrations. Capsules, similar to tablets. Pellets. So these pellets are small sized solid dosage forms which is compressed into tablets or in the filled into the capsules. Then aerosols, which is used for the nasal or oral delivery. Then the ointments and gels used for the topical delivery, patches used as a transdermal delivery, then supposed to be used for rectal or vaginal delivery. So each and every formulation and route of administration is unique, and the different forms of formulations like solution, suspension, powder, tablets, capsule, etc., which require unique manufacturing technique and packaging techniques and also analytical techniques. In this slide, we are going to see the process of drug product or formulation industry, how it functions, what is the sequence of activities is being carried out. Similar to API, here also we need to identify the target formulation and target market, which define the requirements. Based on the target market country, we need to analyze the patent barriers through patent landscaping, and if in case our proposed formulation is infringing, then we have to do the non-infringement route for the development of the product in case the product comes under the patent barrier. Then we need to understand the reference product which is already available in the market. What is the composition? What kind of dimensions? So many physical and chemical properties understanding is required for the reference product. Then we need to finalize the development strategy for the generic product. Then based on the strategy, we need to source the active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is also already approved or to be approved in the target country. Then the excipients, packaging materials, and the equipments will be required. Then the formulation and analytical development will be carried out. Pilot batches and its characterization, then in vitro data like stability and other data like assay, impurities, all will be established through the various analytical techniques. Then the scale up and the pilot BE studies will be carried out. If the pilot BE studies are successful, then the exhibit manufacturing of 3 batches will be carried out for the drug formulation. Then the pivotal BE studies will be carried out for the particular exhibit batch. Then the entire data will be compiled and submitted for the target country for the marketing authorization. This particular slide explains the generic drug development process for United States market. So it starts from the product selection, then the development process, which takes 6 months, then the pilot bioequivalence study, then the manufacturing of exhibit batches, stability data of 3 months is mentioned, but nowadays it is 6 months stability data requirement, then the pivotal bioequivalence study, then the ANDA filing, then the review time, the FDA, which is mentioned at 25 to 30 months, but now if we pay more, we are able to get the review time within 6 months or 1 year. Then finally, all the data is satisfied to US FDA. They give the approval for the particular ANDA application. Then we have to plan for the scale up of the particular product, commercial batch manufacturing. If scale up and commercial batch manufacturing is successful, then we'll be launching the product in the United States market. So this is in nutshell about the generic drug development process for US FDA. This particular slide depicting some of the formulation development and manufacturing process. This particular slide depicting some of the tablet punching technology, filling technology, and packaging technology. This slide depicting some of the coating technologies like pan coating and fluidized bed coating. This slide depicting some of the filling technologies including capsule filling, vial filling, and container filling like HDP containers, etc. So in the pharmaceutical industry, so far we have seen drug discovery part and the generic drug development process part. In the generic drug development process, we have seen the API drug development, then the formulation development. So now these both drug discovery as well as generic drug development are supported by various associated industries, which is already explained in the previous slides like excipients, packaging materials, and analytical sciences. So the support industries also arise from the process development like engineering process during the manufacturing of the drug product, and the analytical development and validations where for the drug as well as the drug product different analytical techniques are being employed for different purposes including characterization, impurity analysis, and also during the clinical evaluation, the pharmacokinetic evaluation also being done by various analytical techniques. The quality control also a critical function during the manufacturing of the drug product, which is for the drug product release as well as the entire development process is supported by various sourcing of materials and supply chain management. If you look at the scope and opportunities in the research and development area of drug development process, including the drug discovery as well as the generic drug development process, you can see the scope and opportunities lies for API development scientists, formulation development scientists, analytical development scientists, clinical research scientists, bioanalytical research scientists, intellectual property and patent analysts, and medical affairs. So there are various kind of expertise is required for research and development in the pharmaceutical development process. The scope and opportunities in the research and development does not stop there with the medical affairs. We have support functions like quality assurance managers, quality control executives, regulatory affairs managers. Then the entire system is supported by information technology professionals to maintain the confidentiality and integrity. And there are sometimes we need statistical and biostatistical professionals who support the clinical research and drug development process. When it comes to the manufacturing of drug or drug products, we can see the scope and opportunities lies in production, quality control, quality assurance, technology transfer and scale up. Then the pharmaceutical engineering, then the supply chain management, which is very critical for manufacturing, then the packaging development, store management, and the information technology management. So now it's not only in pharmaceutical industry, for any kind of industry, we would require the support functions from the business development personnel, the marketing personnel, engineering professionals, human resource, HR, then the finance and accounts, supply chain and purchase, then the administrative personnel. So the support functions are very common in across the industry, which applies for the pharmaceutical industry also. So there are scope and opportunities lies in these common areas as well. This particular slide describes the qualifications required for different areas of pharmaceutical industry what we discussed, like research and development, manufacturing, and support functions. So in case of research and development, we would require professionals from pharmacy, chemistry, biochemistry, biotechnology, and other life science graduates. There are medical professionals and veterinary science professionals also sometimes required for the research and development of pharmaceutical products. Then in case of manufacturing, we would require pharmacy, chemistry, biochemistry and biotechnology life science graduates, and also we would require some engineering professionals. In case of support functions, there are maintenance, instrumentation engineers, scientists who qualified in engineering and technology. There are supply chain professionals, human resource. They are from MBA background or BBA background, finance professionals, CAs. See, it's all kind of qualifications and expertise are required for support functions. As we said earlier, the entire pharmaceutical development, including drug discovery and generic development, is supported by various equipment and instrumentation engineering. So, for instance, we have given some of the things in this particular slide, like chromatographic systems, like high pressure liquid chromatography, mass spectrophotometers, gas chromatographic instruments, ICP-MS, etc. Apart from this, the equipments like in vitro testing machines like dissolution equipments, etc., also used during the development of pharmaceuticals. Then the spectrophotometers, including IR, NMR, UV, and MAS, also used for the evaluation of pharmaceutical development products. To maintain all these instruments and equipments, we need servicing, maintenance, and updation of the instrument and equipments by the professionals. So the entire process is supported by equipment and instrumentation engineering. In this particular slide, we are going to see how the pharmaceutical industry present. So there are drug discovery companies. They do the drug discovery for their own business. And there are CROs, contract research organizations, also do the drug discovery for different pharmaceutical companies. Now, there are generic API industry which do only the R&D and they may or may not do the manufacturing of the product. And then there are generic formulation R&D, again they may or may not do the manufacturing. This both API R&D as well as the formulation R&D can be done by contract research organizations, and these contract research organizations they develop this API and formulation for different formulation companies. Then we have contract research organization for bioavailability and bioequivalence studies. These are basically clinical research organizations supports the generic formulation development. Then there are analytical R&D and testing contract research organization support the pharmaceutical product development. Apart from this, there are contract manufacturing organizations which manufactures the API and formulations for different pharmaceutical companies. We have seen in the previous slide various pharmaceutical industry present, and there are some companies which do whatever we have seen in the previous slide. The entire thing are being done by single pharmaceutical company also. So now the pharmaceutical industry supported by different form of business models like preclinical testing industry, including the contract research organization, clinical research organization which conducts the clinical trials, different phases of clinical studies, including phase 1 to phase 4. There are pharmacovigilance contract research organizations which do the safety monitoring of the already marketed products. There are contract research organizations which carry out functions of data management and biostatistics for the clinical research. And then there are industries which is related to packaging material development and manufacturing, excipients development and manufacturing. Then apart from these, we have cosmetics industry, then the medical devices industry, and so on. With this, we have come to the end of the pharmaceutical industry module where we described about the various forms of pharmaceutical industry, including drug discovery, generic drug development process, including the API development process, how it works, what is the sequence of events, then the formulation development process, what is the sequence of process, then the expertise and qualifications required for R&D, manufacturing and support functions, and what kind of industry presence in pharmaceutical sectors across the globe as well as in India, and what are the support functions required for supporting the pharmaceutical industry, etc. So now we'll be seeing the particular industry zone in the upcoming module in a detailed manner. Wish you good luck. Thank you.